I provided 12 dialysis machines for those who have a kidney problem. I try to warn them. I have no objections to that. But if they fail to heed his warning and the patients continue to die unnecessarily or are not attended to, his head will roll as a minister. If you look at all the ministries, the Ministry of Health has the highest turnover of dismissed ministers. And I'll continue the trend, not only health, but as from now, all the ministers, if you don't want to work, go home. Simple and straightforward. This is not a conscript army where you are obliged to serve.
Madin, Morobe kila key point all la jang, former president Minkere Yaya Jammeh ay kibaro min jindi nu Gambia la jata kende ya fanato. Al sen follow Instagram Give Thanks TV 1, Facebook Give Thanks TV obele kana. Madin, anumbara Give Thanks TV la murunda nan ko reke mbafola momo ni video etra wato wati Give Thanks TV ko abe kontonna o wato la mbali kontondiro borin ko laje mbafola le kal subscribe aliya like ale comment nal subscribe tu ka pare aliya make so kakata belende men katara je mbali aliya ma ka press e bajala video jolonta wato wati mbali ni manke mo foloti ete kala mo la banti membe video jubela Comme ngata la nyameng moy robe kala le min keta former president Yaya Jammeh ay kibaro min jindi walla kuma kan min jindi meme dandi Gambia la jata kende ya fannato anim fanna jama be dandi walla comme be ngalo nyameng jata kende ya keta feldi mi yalon ko sainteng atala diamo siari fam nanara do ku dulalla fannato manam min keta Gambia la jata kende ya bundati sainteng kibaro be siari walla fannato walla kuma be siare wala fanato bayin jero ketale wala kuma kan moy tamin be dending denani taworo ani woro la saya nsafo dindin taworo ni woro la saya dol ko aselata la fo dindin taworo ni kononto ani fanna jama be dendi wala wana ko kutimi alon ko Gambia din jama le la ni ko ani bala fatandi ko ni to ka tandi ko fo Gambia jada kende abunda ko dole buka sije bang wala ko do min ka sije abuka dum anyanda dunna damen ani fanna jama wala fo Dr. Samate atanyanta ka resign bang wala manya resign na anim fanna jama bay jero kira kaje ko nin ko tata nyanta tala nyamen min kira borol kabiri dunta banko kan e ko nin kiskisi fam kajube fo nin borol nyanta ka dile wala nin borol a jaretale ke di dindi wonna bang wala man jare ke di dindi wonna bay jama jero ka kaje ko asekeno borol nyul fan be sate ko no la nin fanna jama dole tandiro ko ke fantanga wala kumayata ke fanjara anin fanna jama fa ay tandiro ko kaje ko menkera covid-19 kodoti fo kodoni be duntale anyanta duna dabe ngaje minkera 2021 ti esa fale kibar kuliyari bale jinde nun Gambia la jata kende ya fannato o video fana hakil brando kera la nun ne jang abe duma alsa jubeno barbi hakil brando be kala minna wolem former president minkera Yaya Jammeh bayin ay tandiro kele mimbe dending jada kende a kodo min ka dunje ani ka fo ko fion damu minti atata nun Taiwan ay kiskisiroge ani fanna jama mimbe dending jada kende a fanna to mbadi jubero be kala woto kairo kono triya kono binasai
Start it. And when you go to for X-ray, they refer you to somewhere else, which I will not name, for X-ray and then you at a cost and then you pay. When we have provided everything. I provided 12 dialysis machines for those who have kidney problems, who require dialysis. It was very expensive. They go across to Senegal. It's very expensive. And this is something you have to do every week. And I provided, I told you I wanted as many as the hospital would need. They said they needed 4. I said, no, 4 is not enough. We put additional 4 to make it 8. I sent 4 to the AFPRC hospital. I wanted to send another 4 to Suleiman Junko Hospital. They told me that they don't have the expertise there. Fair enough. Now, you will be shocked to know that out of the 12 that have been provided, only 2 were working. And they give you the impression that these equipments are very expensive. I was shocked when I went to Taiwan and I asked. They told me it costs less than $10,000. I say, what? Dr. Mbo can bear witness. There and then I used all my money and bought that number. And we also bought again. We also bought an oxygen plant, which would have been so not only sufficient, but the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital would have been the main supplier of oxygen to all the hospitals and health centers in this country. Guess what? After 1 month, they say it has a problem. The oxygen tanks are nowhere to be found. And what I cannot understand is, you tell me that the equipment has broken down, only to go there and ask for the equipment is nowhere to be found. There was complete mayhem at the hospital, which is unacceptable. It led to the sacking of some ministers. But I think people at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, they didn't get the message. So I decided to bring it under my purview.
Madam, Belo Fanda Moyola, Minketa former president, Yaya Jammeh, ay kumaka min jindi, nanata Gambia la, jata kendea fanala, kabirate bije, watu minna, ay juberoke, fanala minketa, kidney problem oti, pombengalo nyame, wokata kuti mialonko, adiamo kasia bake, kaje ko problem kasia bake, soko ni nata musola fanala, anin dindun, anin fanna jama belendi wala, former president jero ko kaje ko, modol bije man jaralo sotono Gambia banko kan, wol data fo Senegal, pour ka jaralo sotono je anin fanna jama, former president tandro ko kaje ko, ni wajube la ka hayma, ay masinol milisang, abita fo tandim fula ñom anin fanna jama belendi wala, baro kola, anata jero ka kaje ko, fula damma walbe doku wala aka munda tani wal manda doku wala nim fanna jama.
But not only that, also to staff it with people that are ready to work. And then when the Syrians came, there was a lot of resistance. And I made it very clear to the Syrians. Don't give me names. I will know those who are behind it. But warn them that if the president decides to send anybody to jail, you cannot intervene, and you should not intervene. Some cooperated. There were a lot of resistance. Can you imagine the hospital's management spending $20,000 for coffee break during a meeting, and just $5,000 to provide something for a patient who is undergoing surgery they don't have? There was a time that even the testing tubes, they call them, for pregnant women was not even available. You go there, they tell you to refer you to a pharmacy. When you go, you find it there. And before, during the time of Dr. Gassama, I took him to Egypt and another country, and I spoke to the Egyptian minister of, I spoke to the president of Egypt then, President Mubarak, who is a good friend of the Gambia, who is a good friend of mine, irrespective of what position he is in. He said, don't worry, I will send you to the pharmaceutical companies. You visit their facilities, and whatever you agree with them, we will implement that. I told him no. I will go and check their products, and we will take samples and test them. Give them to the WHO to test and see if they are of WHO standard. And if the answer is affirmative, I don't want to deal with the companies themselves, because if there's a problem, there'll be if there's a problem, if we pay and they fail to deliver, it will be very difficult for us to retrieve our money. So now what we want to do is sign with the Egyptian government, Ministry of Health, all our agreements with the pharmaceutical companies. We signed that agreement with it is government to government. So if a pharmaceutical company misbehaves, you deal with it. He said, whatever you want, that's what I will do. So we signed, and I said, okay, there's a lot of pilfering of drugs. That's one thing I want done. To put in a mark that you know that unless you are told what it is, where it is, you will not know, so that if the medicine is stolen and sent to a pharmacy, Dr. Kasama can go and stand at the pharmacy and say, this is from government company. This was going on, I thought, up to now, only to realize last year that it has been discontinued. And I regret why I didn't send that particular minister to jail instead of, but then he had long gone.
Marin, Belo Fana Monyola, Minketa former president Yaya Jammeh, ay kumaka min jindi ala wato safo mimbe dendi jata kende ala fanala ay hakil bulando ke kabrin doctor gasama benunje atala wato manama ko ani wota matal nun kata Egypt bari ani Egypt la nyaton ko mimbe nunje ani wokata safa kafunyole woti ani fanna jama bari kabri ya sambaje manam ako purkana bole ibajala ka borol nyul sambana Gambia ni fanna jama bedeni wala marate tandiro ko kaje ko abe koni lon la dami wolem nenti ko government to government puru nin ko ku botaje ibajala abe kala mansakunda ni mansakunda quality ani fanna jama atakala nenti ko company ni la ko atani wolle be dilla ani fanna jama ani ay tandiro fanake ani misata ama modo sambanu kiti atondi kasola ni fanna jama wakamala diamote siala je ala baraka bakala la mo kunyi mala wala kada former president ay kuma kamil jindinu jata kende ala fanna la anin ay hakil bulandoke atala ala wato nsafo kabira bije anin nyaton kol kamanyo nyami ani ate fanaka koni kiskisi nyami akaka government to government neti madi Cairo kano fofa ngolo stalabi.
And I told the Minister of Health to go around and see for himself what is happening elsewhere. If they can misbehave just next door to State House, imagine what they will do in your village, Sintet. He went around and he was shocked with what he has seen. But he decided to warn them. I have no objections to that. But if they fail to heed his warning and the patients continue to die unnecessarily or are not attended to, his head will roll as a minister. If you look at all the ministries, the Ministry of Health has the highest turnover of dismissed ministers. And I'll continue the trend, not only health, but as from now, all the ministers, if you don't want to work, go home. Simple and straightforward. This is not a conscript army where you are obliged to serve. So, up to today, what I have found at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital has shocked me. That's the only most negative part of the year. But I'm going to clean it. A bulldozer leaves a lot of things under. I'm going to use razor wire, detergent. The strongest detergent is what I'm going to use.